This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone. Boker Tov. Boker Or. Who wants to hear a little bit about Napoli? Okay, here we go. One of the most important personalities who lived in Napoli was Rabbi Yitzchak Aramaah, the Bal Akeidas Yitzchak. As we mentioned in the shul, which by the way, we spoke from a spot, Roberto said nobody's been there for 100 years. The Rabbi Yitzchak Aramaah wrote a classic sefer called Akeidas Yitzchak. In the Akeidas Yitzchak, Rabbi Yitzchak Aramaah provides amazing presentations al Torah, where sometimes you'll have a machlokes, the Rambam and the Ramban, and Rabbi Yitzchak Aramaah will take a completely different approach. I'll give you two examples. We know the Ramban in the beginning of Vayikra famously quotes the Rambam in the Mar Nevuchim. What's the reason for Korbanos? What's the reason for Korbanos? So the Rambam, as is well known, writes in the Mar Nevuchim, the reason for Korbanos is it's coming to counteract the ideology of the idolaters who believed in the forces of nature, who believed the animals were gods. So by slaughtering the animals, it nullifies the ideology of the nations of the world. And the Ramban asks on the Rambam, heaven forbid to make the Mizbeach a makom where we're counteracting Avodah Zarah. And the Ramban says, no, Korbanos is a way of accessing the energy of the various Oilamos. That's the famous machlokes Rambam and Ramban. But the Bal HaTanya provides really a stunning reason for Korbanos. And he gives us insight into human nature in general. He says, human nature is such that if somebody bestows upon you great benefits, if somebody bestows upon you toivos, you have a need, you have a deep need, a profound need to be able to pay them back. If you can't pay someone back for the kindness that they do to you, it's, in a way, a person feels guilty, and a person does not feel comfortable even accepting the toivos. You want to say something about the Rambam?
No, there is a lady, she needs a lens. So that's to the side.
Okay, pause it for a second. Pause it for a second. Comes the Bal HaTanya. The Bal HaTanya provides really a beautiful reason for Korbanos. He says, the Rebbeinu Shalom knows that in order for us to enjoy all the benefits that he gives us, if we had no way to pay him back, if we had no way to offer him anything, if every time we came to him it was with a feeling of Ma ashiv la'Hashem kol tagmoloi aloi, we would not even be able to enjoy the benefits that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us. So Hashem, in his infinite kindness to Klal Yisrael, gave the institution of Korbanos to give us nachas ruach, that we in some measure have the opportunity to give something to him, even though the Navi says, does Hashem really does Hashem really get benefit from our Korbanos? But it's a way of giving us a chance to more fully appreciate the tovos that he gives us, that we're able to give back to him. Now I want to share with you an amazing presentation of the Bal HaTanya on the story of Avraham and three of the Malachim. Who would like to hear that? All right, by a vote of 6-5, I'm going to tell you the presentation of the Akeidas Yitzchak on the story of Avraham and the three Malachim. Of course, the simple explanation of the story is it happened. It happened. Avraham Avinu, on the third day of his milah, it was a very hot day. Hashem took the sun out of its sheath, and Avraham Avinu was waiting for Archim, and there were no Archim because it was too hot. And Hashem made a miracle, and he created Malachi Asharis to come. And Avram served them, and he gave them bread, or he tried to give them bread. He gave them water. He gave them entrecôte. Actually, he gave them tongue with mustard. And as a reward for that, Avraham Avinu was rewarded that Hashem gave us mayim directly, and Hashem gave us man directly, and Hashem, gave us mayim al yedei davar acher. And in the merit of Avraham Avinu's chesed, Hashem repaid Klal Yisrael. Comes the Rambam in the Mar Nevuchim, and the Rambam says, Loi haya v'loi nivra. The story never happened. You know about this? The Rambam says the story never happened. In fact, the Rambam says many prophecies that are mentioned in the Chumash did not actually take place. They were prophecies. Avraham Avinu, in a state of nevuah, saw himself sitting at the entrance of the tent. He saw himself waiting for guests. He saw himself serving the guests. And in the merit of that, he saw Hashem reward Klal Yisrael. That's the opinion of the Rambam. The Ramban asks many questions on the Rambam, most notably, if Avraham Avinu never served the guests and the story never happened, then why would Hashem have rewarded Klal Yisrael for a story that never happened? Okay, that is the question of the Ramban on the Rambam. In other words, the Rambam learns about many narratives in the Chumash that they did not actually take place, they were just seen b'nevuah. Comes the Baal Akeidas Yitzchak and he defends the Rambam. He defends the Rambam's approach to the story of Avraham and the next Malachim. Okay, back to you after this commercial break. Okay, so coming back to the Baal HaKeidah, but before I begin, I just want to mention, I was asked to wish a very special happy birthday to Dr. Michael Seltzer of South Africa on the occasion of his 60th birthday. Everybody wish him a happy birthday. Okay. Amen.
From the bush.
So back to the Akeidas Yitzchak. Akeidas Yitzchak says like this. Of course the story never happened. It was all b'nevuah. Avraham saw a prophecy. He's standing by the entrance of the door. He's serving the three malachim. So why did Hashem reward him? Says the Bal HaTanya that the Rambam's pshat is much more karoiv l'derech hapshat than the Ramban. You know why? If Avraham Avinu actually did it, just because he did a chesed one time, so Klal Yisrael is going to have man in the midbar for 40 years. Klal Yisrael is going to have a be'er in the midbar for 40 years, just for one act of chesed. The Ribbono Shel Olam is showing Avraham Avinu, this is a picture of you. Do you know who you are? Do you know what I see inside of your neshama? You want to see how the Shamayim views you? I am showing you that in the Shamayim, when they look up the encyclopedia of Avraham Avinu, they see an individual who sits at the entrance of his door. And when there are guests that are not coming, he's nitztayer that there are no guests. And when the guests show up, he runs after them. This was not a one-time occurrence. Avraham Avinu was zoicha that the heavens should show him how the Shamayim views Avraham Avinu. Says Bal HaKeidah, of course the Rambam is correct. The story didn't happen one time. It's much more than that. This is Avraham Avinu. Very few people in this world ever get a glimpse how the Shamayim views them. You know, everybody has their own opinion of themselves. Everybody in their own mind ranks themselves. You know, who am I? Where am I holding? Many people even think that they know how the Ribbono Shel Olam views them. But there are very few people who are actually shown on a screen, the screen of Nevuah. The screen of Nevuah is a person's neshama. And the Ribbono Shel Olam showed Avraham Avinu that I could look deep inside your soul and I know exactly what kind of person you are. You are an individual that your deepest ratzon is to stand by the entrance of your tent and await guests and await orchem and be mitzapeh to be mekayim the mitzvah of chesed. And the reason why Klal Yisrael was zoicha to 40 years of man and 40 years of a be'er was not because of a one-time act that Avraham Avinu did, as the Ramban says, but rather, as the Rambam learns, this is the entire persona of Avraham Avinu. This is the approach of the Baal HaKeidah, if I'm not mistaken, in Shar Ayin Daled and Parshas Vayera. Thank you very much.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.